What's up, Patreons? You've been waiting calmly for this. I got hit with a copyright violation, so we had to do it like this. The Dynasty album with Jay Z. Everybody remember the Roc-A-Fella album. Now, here is the weird thing about this. The Roc-A-Fella album was supposed to be a compilation album promoting the talent that they had on the label. Beanie Siegel, Memphis Bleak, Mill at that time was supposed to be on the album, and I forgot who all was signed. Freeway, I believe, had just got there, or they hadn't signed Freeway yet, I don't think. But the artists they had, this was supposed to be the compilation album for Roc-A-Fella to promote their new talent. Jay Z was supposed to have 1 to 2 songs on there in the compilation field. This turns into a Jay Z album. He confiscated the Roc-A-Fella album and turned it to a Jay Z album. And we're going to get into the whole gist of all of this shit, because it was some craziness that transpired that made all of this reality. This is all the work of Lyor Cohen. Lyor Cohen got involved in this project because Volume 3 came out, and Volume 3 didn't do what they thought it was going to do. Like, Volume 3 came out, it was on fire, then it fizzled really fast. And it was dying because it came out during Christmas, like around November, around that time. So they felt this was a good buying time for the album. But they felt this was a horrible release date for Jay Z. And by it coming out and as the hit single Do It Again played out, they had a hard time getting that second single to pop. So when Big Pippin became the song that everybody loved the most with Pimp C and everybody else, and they went full aboard doing the video for that song, that kind of saved the album. Even though I like a lot of songs on Volume 3, the Dynasty album is kind of close with me with Volume 3. But it's a lot of sameness and a lot of personal stuff with Jay as he was going through the Dynasty album. Because first, Jay went through the whole stabbing with over the Volume 3 project and the whole bootlegging thing. He was going to court for it. Def Jam was more involved in promoting Jay Z more than ever with this Dynasty album. Like after the Volume 3 and the police incident with the situation, not Irv Gotti, but Lyor Cohen was more connected and more tighter with Jay Z after that moment. Now, the Emil situation happened because a girl that was sleeping with Dame at the office was hating on Emil, and they was making State Property, the movie, saying she was a headache with the makeup crew, and she kept asking for this and demand and this, and she never had a chance to have that conversation with Jay Z. He just immediately thought she was messing up the program and asking for too much. And, she was out of there. When they cut her mic off at the Source Awards, I thought that was a telltale sign. And then Emil, who was the one that, her album actually did pretty well. They just really didn't get behind it. Jay wanted to get back out there and stay hot and get to his new deal and new position. Lyor Cohen was trying to show him there's a bigger world for you, Jay. This nickel and dime stuff that they got you in, I see you're the talent and you're going to do great things here because you get it. You're not like these other rappers. You don't gravitate to the drugs. You don't do any of this craziness. X is hard to control. They can't get DMX under control. They knew he was a junkie when he came into the damn business. But now, the more money and more power he got, this guy's just fucking up all over the board. So they can't even have that. So creating the Dynasty album, Jay Z had to get an album done quick if he wanted to keep his name out there. So Lyor Cohen advises him, look, you want to get out of this deal, you got to get to the project that we got left. Remember, you had X amount of albums to do, which was volume 1, volume 2, volume 3, the Dynasty, and then Blueprint. After Blueprint, that's it. So you got volume 1, volume 2, volume 3, the Dynasty, and Blueprint. The 5 albums are done. That was all that was required, was these 5 albums that they owed Def Jam before they could renegotiate the terms of the distribution deal. And they had to be Jay Z albums, though. Any other artist wasn't going to mesh. This was for Jay Z. So if Memphis Bleek drops an album on Def Jam or Roc-A-Fella, that don't count towards a Jay Z album. They have this deal with Jay Z, which gave them the distribution deal, but Jay Z business is the business they were interested in. So that's not going to count towards their, distribution deal or whatever, towards getting out of the contract. So instead of making this a compilation album, Lyor said, you should make this a Jay Z album. Just turn it into a Jay Z album. Put about 3 or 4 songs on it and just call it a Jay Z album. And that count towards you getting out of your deal. And then you could renegotiate. And Lyor Cohen, who's actually the president of Def Jam, is advising an artist what he should do to get out of his deal signed to him. It's like, you're signed to Def Jam. Why would you tell the talent that's already signed to you how to get away from you? What is that about? See, what Lyor was doing was putting his hooks in Jay Z because he knew this guy gets it. He gets the business part of it. And that's what gets me inspired when I see Jay Z, is his business mind. He gets the concept. He gets what's going on here. He knows, like, I'm about to fuck over everybody in his group. And he doesn't give a shit about any of them either. He wants to be rich. And I'm going to make him a rich asshole, just like everybody else. But first, I got to show him riches. I got to show him what it's like to be rich. And then I'll have him. So while he's working on this album, Like shit is hitting the fan hard. This is why they're doing the whole Dynasty album, right? As they're going into this, Jay Z was dealing with this girl he was supposed to marry. She had a miscarriage, and all this shit was going on, and they was talking about that, and all the shit he was talking about doing was crazy at that point. Like it was mad crazy. So going into the studio saying, all right, we about to do the Dynasty. The Dynasty album? For real? The Rock La Familia album? That don't even make sense, bruh. For real, for real? Is that the album we making? Everybody's like, all right. Because they were making the Rock La Familia album and nobody cared. Nobody gave a shit on what they were doing and how they were doing it. They didn't care. They just like, fuck it. It's what it is. Let's get the Dynasty going. Then all hell broke loose. Because Beanie Siegel and all these guys are working on the Rock La Familia album, and they still think it's a compilation album. They think this is a compilation album so much that Jay Z, as you can see right here, Jay Z, and I'm gonna zoom it back in for y'all so y'all can understand it. If you look at Jay right now, look at this. You look at those songs, intro, change the game. I just want to give it to you. Streets is talking. What do you don't see, people? What you don't see? What do you not see right there? You don't see featuring anybody that's on Roc-A-Fella. There's no feature for anybody that's on Roc-A-Fella. When a lot of these songs are compilation songs with other artists from Roc-A-Fella. If they're on Roc-A-Fella, they're not named as featured artists. They're not featured on the song if they're part of Roc-A-Fella because they consider this a Roc-A-Fella album. So the credits are on the credit section, but here it's not showcasing the artists that are on the song because Beanie Siegels is on there a lot. So it would show that this is a largely compilation album, but they didn't put the featuring everybody on it because then that would take away from them saying it's a Jay Z album. It wouldn't qualify because there's so many features on there. They would have said, well, we don't consider this an album. We consider this a compilation. So now it's just Jay Z Streets is talking. Jay Z changed the game. Jay Z, I just want to love you. Jay Z, stick to the script. Jay Z, you, me, him, and her. Jay Z, parking lot pimping. You see what I mean? 1-900 Hustler. The ROC. All of these are compilation songs that got multiple people from the label on there. They made this album. But yet, this is looked at as a what? Jay Z album. Jay Z put himself on it and took everybody's credit, took the budget, everything. Jay added Soon You'll Understand, Squeeze First, and a couple of other songs just to make it his album. Soon You Understand was a personal song to him. And he tried to lie and say, oh, these are some songs that happened to some people I know. So this is a tale of three stories from three different people. It's not really my life. It's a tale of three different songs from three different people. But if you look at it, Memphis Bleek and Benny Siegel is on Change the Game. Benny Siegel is on Streets is Talking. Benny Siegel is on there with Scarface on This Can't Be Life. Memphis Bleek, Jay Z, and Snoop is on Get Your Mind Right. Stick to the Script is Jay Z and Biggie singing. You, Me, Him, and Her is by the whole Roc-A-Fella familia. Right? Parking Lot Pimpin', Benny Siegel and Memphis Bleek and Jay Z. Holla is Memphis Bleek by himself. 1-900 Hustler, Jay Z, Benny Siegel, and Memphis Bleek. And this was when Freeway first came in. Then The Rock by Benny Siegel and Memphis Bleek. No Jay Z. Then, like I said, Jay Z added Soon You Understand and Squeeze First. Where Have You Been is Jay Z and Benny Siegel. This is a compilation album that was the ROC. Jay Z did this because Lyor Cohen told him to do this, and this was going to count in getting them out of their deal. Within 9 months of the release of Volume 3 on Halloween, this CD was released. But what they did is to make it a success. Def Jam was going to handle the distribution more seriously than they did Volume 3. They had too much Dame Dash in his way of doing things, and they squandered the first time around. And with the bootlegging, it was heavily bootlegged and going out into different places. So to sell the album the way they wanted to push this album, they had to go to different distributors around the world. They had to go to Malaysia. They went to all these other interstate places, but they stopped in Malaysia first. That wasn't telecast. That why you say there? Well, that's where a lot of their cheap labor was coming from. A lot of music gets made, or the CDs getting printed up and pressed and done in Malaysia for less work. But that's a whole nother video and story. So Lyor took him on a G4 plane to show Jay-Z this. We're going to go to a helicopter to the G4. We're going to eat, sit first class, riding in limos. He's showing Jay-Z the multi-million-dollar life. Now we're going to go meet with all of these investors, and I'm coming with you on these meetings. On these meetings, there's no Dame Dash. Dame Dash is not there. And this is a promo run for their artist, Jay Z, for Roc-A-Fella. Jay Z is like, I'm CEO. I get to make this call to do this shot. I'll see y'all when I get back to New York. Me and Lord Lyor is finna go and push this out. Give It To Me wasn't even done. It was the last song added on the album. Parking Lot Pimpin' was going to be the single for the album. It never came out as the single because, well, here's the lie. Jay wanted a single. Give It To Me was actually done by, what was that, Neef or Young Chris, one of the Young Guns, had came up with the song. And that's the only reason he's on the hook. So they weren't even signed yet. They was just there. So they weren't even officially signed to Roc-A-Fella Records. That's why they not on the Dynasty album, except for him on the hook of Give It To Me. Pharrell came and did the beat, and Jay was like, oh, I got to get on that. Because he was just doing the hook. Give me that Jesus Ricky stuff. That's Ricky James hook. And he was just saying it over and over again. And Jay was like, that's it. That's going to be the song. I just need the beat. And the hottest beat out was Mystical song, Shake It Fast. The whole summer. Shake it fast. Watch yourself. Shake it fast. Show me what you're working with. So when all of that was going on with Shake It Fast, Jay Z wanted that. And Pharrell took the Shake It Fast and made that song from scratch. And one day just made it faster tempo and not as slow as they did it. And he kind of wanted the Neptune sound to it. And it sounds like a cheaper version. Give It To Me sounds like the cheaper version of the song that what's his name, man, Mystical. Now going into this process, it was a mixed bag of events because you got so many people who are just ass kissers. They didn't care what was going on. They didn't get full credit for it the way they should have because they weren't listed on the back of the album. They listed on the inside of the album. But this was done to fool the people who make it a compilation, who lists this as an album or a compilation. That's why it was purposely done to make it believable that this was a Jay Z album and not a compilation album. Any other album or record label would have gave you hell about that because it's like you have no solo songs on this album, but two. That does not qualify for this to be a Jay Z album. But he was so strung up on this album. For real, he was. He was geeked, to say the least. Watch this.
Roc-A-Fella Records.
Jigga man,
Holla. I mean,
I'm here with Jay Z.
Yeah.
And in time for some business.
Yeah.
He's not performing or anything. Don't freak out. Groupies, don't freak out.
That's right, on the business capacity. Jay Z is the hustler. Sean Carter is, the center of it all. I feel I got the hottest record of my career.
The Dynasty Rock La Familia 2000.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah, that's right. October 31st.
We're going to all the retailers, all the people who decide what records show up where.
Hey, look at this guy right here, man. Look who I got out here with me. He's out here drudging it out and then doing the grind work with me.
Baby strollers, refrigerators, and Jay Z albums.
Reception area.
Hey, Daryl.
I'm not the star of the show.
Yeah, you are. You didn't come see me. You didn't come see me. I came to see you. All Jay Z would be concerned about is the hot song. Sean Carter would be concerned about is the marketing of that hot song, the promotion of that hot song. He's here because I had a gut feeling. Having the proper
Distribution of that hot song.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to put you off.
man, that's perfect. When the record goes in stores, it's a frenzy. I have a new record. I have a record. I got the record. And that's why we're here.
Give a warm hand to Jay Z.
Right now, I feel like I nailed it with this album, and I feel like, what else is there to do?
He nailed it with this album. Listen, how did you nail something with this album when it isn't your fucking album? This is not your fucking album. This was a compilation album. Like, this was really a Memphis Bleak, Benny Siegel project. They put like all the work into making this shit work. Like the beats and everything they chose, like they was doing the fucking album. You wasn't even involved in the motherfucker. You came and jumped in on some songs that they have created. They created the shit. Look, we finna go into the real of all of this, right? Scarface came and got on the track, right? Because they didn't even have the shit done. They thought Scarface was gonna bring in a beat. And it didn't happen that way. So this can't be life just end up popping up with Kanye West. He just had all these beats. They had no beats ready. They thought Scarface was coming in with beats. And they was like, oh no. He was like, man, this y'all motherfucking album. What the man, I came to rap on y'all thing, man. I thought y'all had this y'all motherfucking album, man. Y'all ain't got no motherfucking beats with Beatface. They was like, oh shit, we thought Face was coming with some old Scarface shit, and we was finna rap on his shit. Or some mob shit that he had. But we was like, shit, we don't have nothing really ready. And he had to spit. And then Kanye West happened to have his shit, and they found some shit for them. Then they played this Can't Be Life beat. Kanye put that on, and that was really the first song and he was gonna get that shit to DMX. That's who he was making this Can't Be Life for, DMX. And then Jay Z got on the record. The shit was Benny Siegel and Scarface. Then Jay Z got on it. And Kanye tell you about that shit all the time. Like, man, I was like, yeah, that's tight. He was like, but in my mind, I'm like, damn, I ain't really want introspective Jay Z. I wanted the Jay Z. Now, another song, Get Your Mind Right, Mommy. That was the only song that Jay was really a part of. With Snoop and Memphis Bleak, he took him and Memphis came and did the song with Snoop. Get Your Mind Right, Mommy was supposed to be a single, like the lead single for the fucking album. It was all fucked up. They went with that. They went with Change the Game with Benny Siegel and Memphis Bleak, which was a fucking waste of money and time. They did like 2 videos. It was fucking both a waste of time. That song is dog shit. But Change the Game is Benny Siegel and fucking Memphis Bleak. Once they did a remix, Jay Z got on a remix. But that was Benny Siegel and Bleak. Streets is Talking was Jay Z getting on there with Benny Siegel. And it was supposed to be Benny Siegel by himself, but Jay got on there and did that with Benny. So that was perfect. Now, Stick to the Script was Benny Siegel and Jay Z just got in there and they worked on that. That was never supposed to happen. You, Me, Him, and Her. Done. Guilty until proven innocent with R. Kelly was supposed to be on the album. That was the lead-in song because they was finna do the joint album with R. Kelly. So when they did Guilty until proven innocent, it's just like foreshadowing everything that was getting ready to come for R. Kelly because he was just finna get hit with the suit because they were talking about doing a joint album together. And they always was going back and forth doing songs for each other. Parking Lot Pimpin', Benny Siegel, Memphis Bleak. Jay Z got on this shit late with his verse. Parking Lot Pimpin' had nothing to do with him whatsoever. 1-900 Hustler was Benny Siegel and Freeway and Bleak. Jay Z put himself on there. Then Soon You'll Understand is all Jay Z and it's personal. Squeeze First is Jay just basically rapping, just Jay rapping. That's all that is. Where Have You Been? It's a Benny Siegel song. It was a personal song with Beans. And That's a Beanie type song. Jay Z got on that song, and that was that. So Jay really jumped on 4 songs on here. Just put a verse on 4 records that was already made, beats already produced. This was not a Jay Z album. This was a compilation album that Jay Z just jumped in and he owned it. And why did he want to get out of his deal? So they could renegotiate. And during that renegotiation, he could cut out Biggs, cut out Dame, and Jay Z would own Roc-A-Fella Records. They were going to do this deal to get rid of Dame and get rid of Biggs. This was in play right now.
This is like my best work right here. Like usually on my albums, I would have a song that really meant something to me. You know, I have 4 on this album.
Where do you want to start?
You should start at the introduction. Wow, you're good.
Look at the people they playing this for.
Thank you. Thanks, man. They got. All right. I'm there.
You see this? Y'all see this, right? Now, why is he showing that and playing that to these people? Because he wants them to buy Jay Z albums, the distributors. This is why it sold 500,000 in his first week. That was huge for them. Jay Z albums don't sell 500,000 in the first week. They normally sell 125,000, maybe 175,000 in the first week. Not 500,000 damn near gold in the first week, because that was what they were shipping, because they went out personally and met with these guys and let them listen to the music. So they felt comfortable with putting the records in the fucking record store so they could push it out. And then they got Jay Z signing copies, of the album already before it's released to help boost the fucking record sales. So now the people and executives there, they got the Jay Z album, they're listening to it, they're loving it. Now, this was the most personable Jay Z has ever been on a record. Soon you understand him in love with his best friend's fucking sister and all that shit. That's one of my favorite Jay Z songs. Now, when it comes to his personal shit, like Squeeze First, I like that song, and Soon You'll Understand. Where Have You Been is Beanie shit, and it was personal to him. This Can't Be Life is another personal shit to Jay. He was on his personal shit then. Streets is Talking is another song that I liked on the album. Other than that, the shit felt like volume 3 with the production value that it kind of jumped the shark. That weird fucking sound shit that was hot during the volume 3 time had played the fuck out by this time. And that shit was done. And they had already started the Dynasty album, so they had to go with it. Like that Changed the Game shit. That's what changed the game. They were like, this song fucking sucks. And that's because that shit didn't last long. That damn Pharrell, that popcorn video game sound. That shit was played the fuck out, and rightfully so. That's why the songs didn't age that well. Like if you go back and listen to Change the Game now, you'll probably throw up. So when you made your album like that in volume 3, you kind of went right along with that shit in this album. And people's like, they don't really listen to that shit no more. Like it's just fucking played. Well, Biggs, Dame, and Jay Z were executive producer of the album. So you had Roc-A-Fella Records distributed, Def Jam, Universal put the album out. They had Monica Moreau do what her job is, and they had everybody approve everything. They had Lenny and G from Def Jam and everybody else get all the credit from what was happening here. To not pay Emil her money, they just said we have a Dynasty supergroup called the Dynasty. That's it. And that was the same fucking people with Jay Z being. So it just they paid them and made it called the supergroup. That's how you get away with fucking people out of their money. They had Rock Wilder, TT, Rick Rock on there, the Neptunes, of course, with Pharrell, Just Blaze, Kanye, Memphis Bleak, Bink, and Big High. They produced all the shit on there. Clue was on there. Dude named L was on there. Emilio Sparks was on there. They had a bunch of people had some just additional vocals on there, but they had R. Kelly come in as what they paid him as an organizer or arranger for the album. Greg Smith was there as the assistant to get everything done. And even though this project didn't hit the certain market ram that they wanted them to hit, they took the route that Interscope did and used MTV. They felt Jay Z was light enough they could take Jay Z to MTV, but they didn't want Benny Siegel and nobody else around. So they took Jay Z to go on TRL. You know, they was like, oh, Jay wanted to show that he's a softer guy and white people can like me. So this was, I'm going to go show myself to white people. I'm not a violent man. I'm just an artist. I'm more like a little kid. And I want white people to like me. This is the first time you're seeing this live. Like, this was the album that he was predicating himself to white folks and making softer music and more personable music. He was trying to get his Nas on. And it didn't really go over well. And then Jay-Z got really mad about that shit. Yeah, he really thought the Dynasty album was going to take off and do things that, you know, it should have done in his mind. He thought this is way better than Volume 3. It's more personable. I felt like I really did it with this album. Like, this is it. This is a classic. And it kind of died on the vine. Well, when you look at everything when it's said and done, where would they be standing now if it wasn't for Jay Z and the rest of these artists? Where would they be? You know what I'm saying? They kind of fucked. I mean, Jay Z fucked these people out of money, but look at it. Would Benny Siegel even have a deal? Really? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's all I'm saying. Would they even have deals? So yeah, he fucked them out of sales. He fucked them out of money. Um, it flopped. The Dynasty flopped. In a lot of people's opinions, the album kind of didn't make it. It kind of didn't make it. The source gave it what 4.5 mics or something like that when it came out, and everyone's like, "Oh, well, this is kind of a great project with Jay Z." You know, it's just it was a compilation. Parking Lot Pimpin' was never a single. And that was supposed to be the single for the album. They came out with just I Just Want to Love You a week before the album dropped. So the song was out about a week and a half before the album dropped. That's how quick they got this album song done and put it out. Then in January, they come with Change the Game. And then Guilty into Not Proven, into Proven Innocent. That's when they came with the third and final single with R. Kelly on there. Now, here is the thing. The problem that people were faced with making this album was a lot of headaches, man. It was a lot of headaches and a lot of ideas that was left on the floor. Kanye was just coming through the door, really, and nobody was really giving him the respect, but he was just playing his position and sitting back watching all of this work go through. Now, if they'd have just worked with Bink a lot on this album, this would have gave people what they wanted. A lot of people didn't like this. Yeah, it's a lot of it's a lot of trying to find that niche, trying to find that thing that pushes you over the top of everybody else. But when you sell almost 600,000 copies in the first week and you only sell 2 million goddamn records to date, that's a problem when it comes to an album. That means an album came out hot and died on a vine. And that's what happened. It came out hot and died on a vine. Nobody felt they needed to have the Dynasty album. And then, like clockwork, here comes fucking the Blueprint right behind that in September. You just dropped in March your single, your third single off the album with Jay Z and with R. Kelly because y'all want to promote this fucking deal y'all got coming out because y'all finna get to work on this album. So this is gonna be the lead into it. So you do that, and Parking Lot Pimpin' never comes out as a single. Fucked up the whole album. And Change the Game came out and was a complete flop. Wrong choice again for the fucking song. For the second single. Your backup single should have been Parking Lot Pimpin'. But you fucked that up because y'all said, well, you listened to Def Jam. You said, well, you already had big pimping. Now you're coming with parking lot pimping. It's kind of the same thing, isn't it? Which means listen to us. Fuck up your album. That's all it means. Listen to us. Fuck up your album. So you listen to Lyor Cohen and let him fuck up your shit. But this whole thing is them parading Jay Z around to show that he's safe.
And all the right, my man. Thank you. I really appreciate it. And holla back.
This is the story of a girl. The pretty face she hid from the world. And while she looks so sad and lonely there, I too love her when she smiles.
Y'all know about me, man. Lord, all that. Very broad. Renaissance man.
So he's going to these distribution meetings and all of this shit on the planes and showing white folks I'm safe. I'm going to all these distribution meetings because I'm a CEO. No, you weren't going to those meetings. These are the meetings that Lyor Cohen normally goes on. But he's taking these distribution meetings with these people, all the retailers, the people that push the albums out on the streets, all the radio stations, so that they could push all this Dynasty album and get this out of there. They wanted this album to break records. Then they realized they fucked up because, yeah, you did that on the first week. Your first week numbers look fucking great, and inflating that is good. But now when you have nothing to back it the fuck up, then now you back stuck. Now, here's the thing. Jay Z didn't fucking take the deal of fucking over Dames and Bigs. He actually told them what the fuck Lyor said, which pissed Dame Dash off enough to start going and fucking saying, like, no, fuck that. I'm going to tell Lyor about himself. Can't fucking take over Roc-A-Fella like that. This motherfucker tried to get us to buy the company and shit. And he told Jay, he said, CJ, I got to tell you about business. This is how relationships get fucked up. This is about trust. I was talking to you to help you benefit you. And now you see what's happening? They're fucking you all over. Dame believes he's Roc-A-Fella. He's trying to replace you. This whole shit with Cameron was all a plan that they cooked up. These motherfuckers cooked this whole plan up and put it in a pipe and smoked it to draw division between Jay Z and Cameron. And once that came in, Def Jam used that shit as a vehicle to get their claws even deeper into Jay, saying, see, now they trying to replace you with Cameron. Dame thinks, well, he can always make another Jay Z. So second time around, when that deal came around, he promised him, I'm going to leave and I'm going to make you president of Def Jam. You're going to have my job, Jay. I'm going to leave Def Jam and make you the president. You can go and retire and run. You're going to have Roc-A-Fella. You're going to have it all. Dame can have his own thing, and I'll let them go ahead and I'll finance their little album company, whatever they're going to do. But Roc-A-Fella will be yours. And the way the deal with the contract was structured, they found a loophole in a way to make that shit possible. Where Jay could just fuck it all up because he was part owner. And Jay was ready to sell. So part of that deal, when they re-upped, fucked them up. If they didn't meet the quota of sales, which they damn sure didn't, that fucking volume 2 fucked up everything. So after the Black album came and they did great on the Black album, that was it. It was bye-bye. It's over. So thank y'all for listening. I'm going to get out of here. Love, peace, and hair grease. Don't forget, man, stay supportive. And we'll do this more and more. I'm out.